back to the Parallel Universe. I'm your host, Logan Bruce, and we are in the Square Table Studios today, and I have a special guest with me, Peter Allan. Say hello, Peter.
Hey, what's up, people? So I'm so happy to be here at this studio, man. This is nice. The Square Table Studio. You got a name for it and everything.
Yeah. Square Table Studios. We we're starting our YouTube channel, so we did a little bit of moving. Got some more cameras and everything, and kind of upgraded to the best of our abilities. And so here we are, in the Square Table Studios, and we're looking forward to some good things happening with us here at the Square Table.
So I'm glad to be here. I'm very honored to be here in the Square Table Studio. I think that we're gonna have to put a disclaimer or a warning now on the show for all the people that are watching the screen, the phone is blowing up, cracking. That's probably me. So if you having trouble with your screens, you just need to listen to us on the podcast, unfortunately, or like when I'm on the show, you got to give them a warning and say, warning, Peter Allan. I do know that, so now our secret identities are out there in the world,
They're out there. People know who we are now.
People will be able to catch us on the file. They're doing a face match right now.
Right now. I've been hiding all this time, but they found me.
So, okay.
So we are here, and today we are talking about the bad guys win. Sometimes. Not all the time. Matter of fact, most of the time they lose.
Right.
But they win sometimes. Mm-hmm. And you're probably wondering why I, came up with that or, wanted to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of what Wesley Snipes said White Men Can't Jump about the dog. And sometimes the sun shines on a dog's butt.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So,
sometimes the bad guys win.
Okay, and the reason why I brought this up, because I was watching, cartoons. Matter of fact, I was watching two. Actually, it was three cartoons that I was watching. I was watching Spiral Zone,
mm-hmm.
Mask,
mm-hmm.
and G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about really is, Mask and G.I. Joe. And so, how do the bad guys win? Because, in every episode, and this is the part two, or something like that, generally, the Joes would stop Cobra. Mask would stop Mayhem or Venom.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sit and think about it, you really sit and think about it. Now, every episode, like let's say we'll just take G.I. Joe. What was something that Cobra was doing?
They were trying to take over the world. They were trying to control the nations, with the Weather Dominator or something like that. So they were threatening the nations of the world. Yeah, and Mayhem was doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing. Yeah. Mayhem, he would threaten, hey, if you don't give me such and such and such amount of money or your gold or something, I'm going to release this or that.
This weapon.
Cobra the same way. We would,
terrorists.
Terrorists. Okay, my question is, we ain't gonna talk about where terrorists get their money.
Yeah.
But where did they get their money?
Yeah, it's crazy. So Cobra, it's a question. I thought about it. I know Cobra would have sneak businesses or whatever. They would find out, oh, that's actually Cobra. And of course, they were started by that organization that was ancient or whatever. So they had probably some technology and stuff like that they might have been stealing the money too. A lot of times, they maybe didn't get stopped every time, so they would have a bank robbery or something, and they would be getting that. That's how they would get the money.
Yeah, right. See, so
organized crime.
Well, sometimes the bad guys win. Okay, so because if you think about Cobra, I'm just going you brought up the Weather Dominator. Where did they get the money to pay for that?
Yeah, right.
No,
they didn't steal that one, did they? They made that.
Destro made that.
Well, and Destro was rich. Wasn't he he was baron or something?
Yeah, but you can be a baron, but if you, how much do you think it costs to be able to weather dominate?
Yeah. I don't know.
And then they stole the laser core from the Joe, so they didn't have to pay for that.
Right.
But,
yeah, a lot of money.
Yeah. Now, I know I don't have a lot of money. But I know if I spent money, let's just say I spent, I don't know, $15,000 to get my car fixed. I can't do nothing else.
Right.
Because I don't have it like that.
Right.
So you done spent $1 million, probably more than $1 million to build this Weather Dominator. Now, after, then the next week, next Saturday, we were watching them build something else, some other kind of weapon.
Yeah.
They had to pull something off to get the money to continue to build these weapons. I mean, it might have been some third world country. They took over that and took all the money from them. You know, it might not have been the United States. It was something, because you can't keep building weather dominator weapons without having some money to back it up. So sometimes the bad guys win. You know. So I think, and what I think might have happened in those instances with G.I. Joe and Cobra, if it wasn't a direct threat to the United States, the Joes didn't care. You know, if it won't really affecting them, then they won't on Cobra's radar really, or Cobra won't on their radar, because you know it wasn't really affecting them. Yeah, Cobra go take over some country that never heard of. You know, all right, cool. But as soon as they start doing something to the United States, the Joes will have to stop. Because think about it, if you remember, you know, Cobra always had like a base hidden somewhere. Some uncharted island, someplace and stuff under the water. They had stuff under the South Pole. I mean, $1 million facilities. Where do you get the money to do that if you have not pulled off one of your threats and actually succeeded in that? Now, what do you think about that?
Well, so I think that a lot of times, so you watch the show, you'll see that Cobra has been operating for some time without the Joes knowing about it, and then they find out finally, like, because they always be surprised. Or like Temple Alpha was like, you know, that whole city that Shipwreck was in that time, right? Yeah. He said, we've been looking for this place for years or for months or whatever. Like, so they might would hear it. So you're right. They would be operating for a long period of time. Succeeding on some level. Even think about money. All of that staff they had, all them people and them tankers that get blowed up every week. Then that next week they got more tanks. So they mass producing those tanks. So I always thought that once I found out that old civilization was behind it, they probably had gold from back in the day or something like that. But yeah, I think that Cobra was operating a lot of times before Joe realized, oh, that's what they are. Then they engage them, then they get them. But, you know, they're all over the place doing stuff. You know, you don't know until they do it to a certain level that, or they send it all through. Because just think about like the weather dome, they build that thing, then launch it, and then say, hey, we got this weather dome. Joe, that's when the Joe should, you know, come in board once they have, you know, showed their hand. So it's later in the whole thing that happens. So yeah, so they winning up until the point where they lose. You know?
Right. Well, I mean, so they were doing something to somebody. You know, they were winning some kind of way. I mean, I just like you said, you know, they were looking for Temple Alpha, and they, you know, couldn't find it. But once they realized where it, because it was hidden, you know, so they had to get somebody, had to win somewhere to get the money to continue, like you said, building the tanks, and not only that, new aircraft, because they came up, you know, with the Night Ravens and stuff like that. So, you know, they built Sapantha. So I mean, come on, it was just stuff that, you know, you were just like, man, what in the world? So they had to win sometime. So I mean, the Cobra won, you know, and it's funny that you mentioned like Cobra Law, and there was a part in there when Cobra said, you know, your precious Sapantha failed, you know, and they, you know, of course we all know what happened to Cobra Commander, and I rewatched Arrive Sapantha Arrive when they first made it, and Cobra Commander was right. It was Sapantha that failed, and the only reason why I say that is because Cobra Commander said, because Sapantha was gonna leave him. He was like, you don't need to leave me because you're going to need a scapegoat when you fail.
Right.
You're going to need somebody to blame for your failure.
Right.
And Sapantha said, for once, you're right. So, Cobra Commander was not the failure that they, you know, said he was, you know, in Cobra Law. actually it really was the Panther.
Yeah, because he was leading it.
He was leading
up to the last, up to that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cobra Commander shouldn't have been dealt that harsh a judgment. Okay, so now we'll go on to Mask. Same thing with Mask. Now, Venom, now first of all, I want to say that I know that he's rich too. Mm-hmm. Venom is, Miles Mayhem has money. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so he would create a weapon, say, hey, look, if you don't give me this amount of money, I'm going to, tear it up. Now, the things that are surprising to me is, how come nobody sees him doing things? Now, right? Because there was one, I think it was called Highway of Terror, I think was the name of that one. And this dude had a base under the highway. He was robbing military trucks. He one time he came down in a hot air balloon and distracted them and slid. In the army truck that had whatever, the plutonium or whatever he was trying to get. Slid down to shoot his base. Yeah. And then the highway closed. Okay, now I used to work in construction. Now I know doing something like that is a $1 million project. Yeah. You just can't have a base under the road without having millions and millions of dollars to fund that. And then how do you do that? How do you dig out under the road? And then put, a hydraulic in there that cause the road, that's millions of dollars. Yeah. So somebody was terrified of Venom and paid him that money. Yeah. I mean, I guess when their aspirations get too high and they're trying to take over the world is when they get, that big L. But until then, they have won somewhere. Right. Because you just can't keep funding out of your own pocket without putting the stuff back. That's right. So obviously they won sometime. Yeah. I mean, he had to. Yeah. And every week, one of their vehicles got blown up.
Every week, not all of them.
If not, 2 of them, 3. Yeah. Piranha got damaged, messed up. Right. Jackhammer. Jackhammer one time disappeared. Wasn't nothing left of him. You remember because I can't remember who. I think Whatchamacallit hit it. Hondo shot it, and it just went away. Wasn't nothing there. I mean, all he had was a steering wheel. That was it. And so Jackhammer had to be rebuilt from the ground up. Right. So you got to pay somebody to put in all those lasers and everything else, to be able to convert it. And all of that, you got to pay somebody unless you threaten them, and then they do it and you kill them. Right. But how many people can actually rebuild something like Jackhammer and what I mean? You just, so.
Yeah, and that's really funny. So you think about in Batman, this is a little bit off the subject, but not in the Batman's where he was like the knight and stuff, where you got to see Fox that built all and you understood, because I used to wonder about that too. Like, how is Batman able to have all these vehicles and stuff? But he had a whole R&D department with his organization, and you see that as a guy doing that behind the scenes. And so there's someone with Venom, and definitely with Cobra. They had all those great people, but definitely someone with that would be an interesting story. Like, who's behind, who's it, Dr. Nefaro or whatever on the Minions and I can't think of it with Gru and stuff. But he's the guy that makes all the stuff for the bad guys. So everybody's got, but we don't know who that is. We know Destro for Cobra. He's kind of behind that, but Venom had to be doing something.
They had to be winning somewhere.
Yeah, and have a shop and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, to fix all of
that. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So they winning.
They winning sometimes. And the bad guys win sometimes.
But even with that, you're right. Mask would many times not know where people were, and then stuff would happen. They'd be like, "That's Venom." So they doing stuff the whole time for months, if not years, and then they come out with a plan, and it's like the one that they were in Africa, they didn't know it was Venom. They were like, calling this like this one where they kept stealing villagers. That kind of showed it because they were mining opium or something. There was a mine there, and they were stealing villagers. They made it look like it was like a tornado or something, but it was Venom, and they just stumbled onto it, and then they found out it was Venom. So they had been doing that for a while before they got caught. They was made some bank And, and then they get caught and get shut down. But they won. Right.
They won for a little while before they shut them down.
Right.
So
because they have been doing that for a while.
Right. And then once they stop,
right.
the opium that they were, whatever they were.
Yeah, I think it was.
They didn't get rid of that.
No.
So they had that wherever they had that base. They just didn't get all of it.
Right.
But they got most of it.
They were getting it for a while.
Yeah. But then they went to the city in the sky. But they were winning.
Right.
Now the third cartoon is that these bad guys win all the time. Spiral Zone.
Because they have won.
They won.
Yeah.
They won.
You just trying to
the good guys are trying to get a grip hold. But in Spiral Zone,
right.
Those Black Widows done won.
Right.
You didn't go in that place.
Right.
You stayed out. Now, of course, they were trying to take over the whole world, and that's the only thing that the Zone Riders could do was just stop them from going any further. But they won't taking that stuff back over.
Right.
New York, all of Chicago, and all those cities, zone. They were zone. And so the Zone Riders, all they were trying to do was keep them from taking that doggone Spiral Zone and covering the whole world. Right. That's all they were doing. Because they couldn't do nothing else. It was only 5 of them.
Right. I didn't know that show very much. I gotta go back and watch all of it. But you're right. I know that they look. Don't go to the zone. That's pretty much it. Don't go to the zone. They lost. Another one like that is She-Ra. Wasn't She-Ra that dude had taken
Hordak and
she was trying to win stuff back. They won.
They won. So I tell you, sometimes the bad guys win. Especially that Spiral Zone. I was watching that and I was like, and it just hit me. I was like, the bad guys won on this one. The good guys are the ones that's doing all the fighting to try to get. But sometimes the bad guys win.
Yeah.
So and on that episode, on those episodes, I mean, and a lot of times what they were trying to do, somebody would go into the zone, and they were just like, we got to go in there and get them
back, right?
And that's all they were trying to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
One of the characters, his name was Tank. His son's still in there. And he be wanting to go find him. Tank, you can't do that right now. So Tank, the episode goes, Tank say it because his son is still in the zone. He hadn't been able to find him because he just can't go in there looking for him.
There's a lot of shows. Now when I think about it, so like I was thinking about the last Starship Galactica. They running from them guys. Maybe all of them are like that, but they basically had they just trying to hold on. But with something else that just popped in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, they just trying to hold it up. Like, yeah, so sometimes the bad guy went right out of my mind just that fast. But it was something. So I was thinking about in Voltron, they were in the newest Voltron. I don't remember in the old one, but in the newest one, Zarkon and them basically have won a lot of stuff, and they trying to keep them from taking over their last
strong
areas.
Yeah, the same thing.
And they scared. It's the only the castle was there.
That's it.
So
because Zarkon had done took over the world. He conquered the stuff.
Yeah.
And the only thing you were trying to do was keep him from conquering everything else.
Just holding on.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, until that, and like in the newer ones, until the end, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think in the original, the same way it was like that. Until the end, it was like, we lost this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so some of the dynamic is totally different. What the bad guys have won. And of course, in the modern thing, like, what you call it was, Thanos really won. They had to go to a whole nother dimension to get him.
Oh, yeah.
So he won. But of course, that was a part two. So, the kind of like the middle movie sometimes the bad guys win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. They were in the zone. Chicago, gone.
Gone. All of New York.
Gone.
L.A.
Gone.
Zone. I mean, and for some strange respect, Spiral Zone was one I don't understand. Because you physically had to go into the zone area. And I mean, they had it barricaded, roped off and stuff. Somehow, these guys still had people that was part of the zone. Mm-hmm. You know, army, they had their little army. They would call them, what, the Black Widows. Or the Widows is what they would call them, you know. How did they get them? I mean, everybody by now know, unless it's just still people that's still in the zone when they get them, you know, that's what happened. And then these guys just listen to everything he, you know, if he said, hey, stop him. Regular people walking around in regular clothes, they're gonna stop him.
Right.
You know, and I was trying to figure out how come, because some of those guys don't have any free will. You know, you know, they just in there zoned out. But the other guys, you know, like his henchmen, you know, the main guys there, they still had free will. You know, they could think and do how they. And I think, because I don't know if they explain this or not, but I think if you know, submitted yourself to the zone, you could, you know, you'd be all right. But if you fought against it, when you got you lost your free will, it took over. It's wild, man.
Would you say that Third Earth was under Mumra's control, and like then the Thundercats get there and they did kind of change stuff?
Yeah.
But like he had control of that before they got there.
Yeah,
right?
he was ruling. I mean, he wasn't really, you know, causing terror, but people like, I ain't doing that with Mumra, you know, they were doing stuff. You know, I remember the little teddy bear thing.
That's what I was first thinking about. Like, he had
they weren't doing nothing. Mumra, no.
Mumra had them.
He had them, you know, So a lot of Mumra ruled that spot.
Yeah.
And then
that's why he was mad, because he gonna
Thundercats like, taking over his stuff. Who these people, these cats coming in my house? And not. So he was just like, and then too, he was just like, man, I gotta get these guys out of here. That's all. And the Thundercats. All they were trying to do.
He did want that eye. He wanted that power.
But he wanted that power then once he saw it.
Right.
You know, and the Thundercats were just trying to keep him from taking over the rest of the world, you know.
Because they were running too or something, or had left or something. Won't they go on somewhere? Because they crashed on. They
crashed on. Yeah, they won't go on there. They were leaving their home planet and got there and then the ship messed up and they crashed on Third. Yeah, and that's where they were there on Third.
Yeah, but that was his place.
Yeah, that was his home. That was it. You know, and you can understand how who are these Thundercat people? Oh, man, they got this powerful gem thing here. Let me take that.
Right.
Because if I can get that, then, you know, you definitely ain't going to stop me from ruling the rest of these guys. I can get rid of you, and I can make sure everybody else stays in check. So
sometimes the bad guys win.
Sometimes the bad guys win. You know, and you gotta love that, I guess, you know. You know, we all root for the good guys. We don't want to see anybody, you know, taking over or, you know, anything happen to them. But at the same time, when the good guys win all the time,
right?
You know, you kind of lose interest in the show because you just be like, hey, you know what? The good guys gonna win anyhow. That's why, you know, and I'm just gonna throw this in here because I'm a Star Wars fan. That's why I love how that worked. And you know, you had Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi. Because if the good guys would have won, the rebels would have won on that one, on Empire Strikes Back, you would have been like, man, what's the point? But see, when Return of the Jedi, you had to go see that because the way Empire ended, you know, the bad guys win sometimes.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I remember watching that as a kid, and you know, when they were on Hoth, and they were getting their butts spanked. You know, you won't nobody halfway down from the Empire. But them rebels was going away from here. And I remember, I think we remember saying, man, they losing.
Right.
And you know, I didn't know it was going to continue on. I just figured they just lost that battle.
Yeah.
But the whole show, they lost.
They were losing the whole
They lost the whole show. I mean, Luke on, gone, hang on, Han caught, going
people
to jump
were running. Yeah, because they were
running.
Running from them. Han was running
the whole show.
Yeah.
He was running. So they lost that, you know, which makes you want to see the return of, you know, see if the good guys can, you know, muster up a victory. So that's always good when, to me, in my opinion.
It makes you respect the bad guys.
Yeah.
They're powerful, you know.
Exactly.
So, and I think that, like, in some of the best movies, so I was thinking about G.I. Joe, the movie, like, they're not losing the whole time, but there's a lot of losses that So the first thing in the victory, the first snow battle, and Cobra got to retreat into the cave. Mm-hmm. But then after that, they're trying to hold Serpentor or whoever they call. Then they break Serpentor out. Then they trying to do this. They do the bad guy. So the bad guy, and then the ultimate thing, they trying to keep the spores from bursting. Doggone, the spores don't burst. So a lot of times, like in the best movies, the thing that we trying the whole time to prevent, it'll happen. Yeah. And you got a one last shot to and if they did the build out correctly, you're like, oh no, that's that hopelessness.
Yeah, because G.I. Joe had lost. Yeah, lost right up to the very end. And they would, lost. Yeah, you have lost G.I. Joe. Lost that, and they had lost. Yeah. And then Falcon just, he did, look, we gonna get rid of all of them. We all, this is it. So, and of course it worked, and he fried the spores in space and everything. But let's just say he did. Let's just say
all being them things.
We were grossed out monsters,
mindless beasts.
Yeah. So that's sometimes the bad guys win. So and that's always cool. Like I say, to see that. Just like you said, you do that build up, and then right at the end, the good guys rally. It reminds you sort of like a football game. Mm-hmm. Your team is losing. And they lost the whole time. And then the fourth quarter, whatever, you see them, they rally and they come back and they win by, they just barely win. And you're elated, So it's the same type of feeling that you get watching, well, at least I do, watching these cartoons and seeing that, And even in Rise, Serpentor Rise, the Jokers didn't stop them from getting any of the DNA. Right. Except for Song Soon. That was one guy.
Well, yeah, they stopped one, yeah.
That was it. Yeah. And they got the rest of them. Yeah. And the only reason why they lost is because Serpentor didn't listen to Cobra Commander. He said, you trying to take over the United States. He said, you ain't going to be able to do that. I have tried. Right. And Serpentor said, I can do it. Okay. Right. And if he hadn't done that, if he would have started smaller and maybe done some of the things that Cobra Commander had done, and took over some of them small countries, got those guys to rally with him. Might not have been a G.I. Joe. He might could have took Washington, and then we would all be hissing because we under Cobra, instead of. But he didn't. He was arrogant, and he, thought he could just do it, and
You know who does that well? I know we probably got it much, but I was thinking about Dragon Ball Z. They do that good sometimes, where they do the build up, like the stuff you trying to get the guy not to do, like Cell, don't let him eat both the folk. He done ate both of them, transform. It's like they get and he's just like, no, don't let him get the stage. Like, and everyone telling him like, don't let Frieza get the fifth, transform to level 5 or whatever it is, and he like Goku like, I want to see you, and he like, no. So they be making their folks be very powerful, and the thing that you don't want to happen happens. But that stuff. It's never like just barely wins. Right. They do kind of. Yeah. Goku just overcome. Except for Vegeta, I still think the best fight to me, or probably my favorite fight in all the Dragon Ball Z is Goku versus Vegeta, the first one. Yeah.
And Goku lost.
He did lose because they had to cut his tail off, and then
and Gohan fell on him.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. Everything Goku learned and did not work against Vegeta.
That's right.
Vegeta beat his tail, man. He went to Kaioken times 3, I think.
No, he went times 10.
He went Kaioken times 10.
When he's doing the Gala gun on them.
Oh yeah, he did do
that. Because that's my favorite. Is they're both doing. He's in space and Goku trying to and that's like the perfect thing. And then he does 10 and try to and actually Goku does win that because he does 10 and he stops Vegeta, blast. Right. He was trying to blow up the whole world. And Goku with it. So then he comes, you're right. And I thought that was so crazy because that was it for Goku. That was his last it. And then Vegeta didn't know that. He come down there and then turn into the Super Saiyan Monkey. Yeah. So it's over, really.
He was sitting there crushing them like that, holding this, crushing them. So Goku lost. Goku lost, man. It was over. And then even after that, it was the crazy thing. They did a spirit bomb and Krillin threw it, missed, it bounced off Gohan and hit him. So you were like, the spirit bomb. That was supposed to be his ultimate.
Right.
And Vegeta was still alive after that.
That's why, man. I'm telling you, that's my favorite. Cause right, everything that and they did so many times the hero thing, and it still didn't work. They did hit him with the spirit bomb.
Yeah, he got hit
he
with it.
Ricocheted, and I was like, "Whoo, we did it."
And then he fell down on the ground, and Krillin was like, "Well, he dead anyway." That joke was at 9. He popped up and slapped Krillin out the way. They lost, man. And the only thing that saved them was Gohan turned to the monkey
and
fell on him.
Right.
He didn't even beat him as the monkey.
Right.
It was only because Vegeta tried his tail off.
He tried his tail off, but it fell on him before.
Yeah, he struck all the way down.
Vegeta was a daggone man.
Vegeta, he spanked all of them.
All of them. He did.
He did it, man. You know, the bad guys win sometimes. So, I mean, hey.
That's a great point.
Yeah. So that's just something I was thinking about, and hopefully, you once you watch some more cartoons or watch, read a comic book. That happens in comic books a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, you know what, the bad guys win sometimes. So so that's going to bring an end to this universe. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, we are now on YouTube. Our first episode will be coming out on the 6th, I do believe. That's the first of the year, so that's when we'll definitely be, doing our thing on YouTube. Of course, you can still check us out on Spotify. You can, hit me up, leave me a message. What do you guys think? Is it cool that the bad guys win sometimes? Let me know. You can hit me up on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. Well, not even called Twitter now. So X, yeah, at Logan_Bruce42 on X. Just so let me know what you guys think. You can also check out our merchandise. We have our merch store going on, and you can find us at Dimension 616. And you can check out some of the cool things we got here, like this shirt and this hat, and also the shirt that Peter is wearing. I would like to thank you so very much, Peter, once again for coming to the Square Table Studios and chatting up with me, man. As always,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. As always, I love when you come to the studio. So that's gonna do it, you guys. Thanks again. I couldn't do this without you. So, and as always, we'll see you